Hey everybody, this is your digital Super Saiyan 3 back here with another video, and we are getting into my March pay-per-view review. For the month of March, I chose WCW's Uncensored 1999. Took place March 14th, 1999 in Louisville, Kentucky at Freedom Hall. On commentary, you got Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and the Professor Mike Tenay. So, before I get into this review, I'm giving my thoughts. I gotta admit, for all the problems this show has, I didn't mind this show as much. I actually admit this show is kind of a guilty pleasure. Yes, it was not a good show, sure. Well, it did have some good stuff on it, but let's just get into this show. Our opening match is a match for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship, as the champion Billy Kidman defends against the debuting Mikey Whipwreck. So, WCW did not do anything with Mikey Whipwreck after he debuted. Like within months he would return to ECW. But this was like his standout match in WCW, so at least Whipwreck has this under his belt, and it was a really solid Cruiserweight title match, a really awesome match to start the show off. Kidman ended up hitting the Shooting Star Press, retained the Cruiserweight title, and Kidman is still your Cruiserweight champion. Next up, we get a Harlem Street fight as Stevie Ray defeats Vincent. And this is for the total power and control of the NWO Black and White. Because at this point, the NWO Black and White is the B team. So this was control of the NWO B team, and lots of the B team guys were all fighting about who should have control. You had Horace Hogan, who also wanted to get involved in this, and Brian Adams got involved. But it was mainly this match with Stevie Ray and Vincent. Like, Stevie Ray hits the flapjack, and for a street fight, they really didn't use any weapons. This was really a very lackluster match, so really nothing more to be said. Very lackluster. Next up is another lackluster match, as Kevin Nash defeats Rey Mysterio Jr. Now, yes, Ray, by this point, had unmasked. Yes, Ray, in 99 and 2000, he had spent those years unmasked. Because Ray, back in February, had to be forced to unmask after losing a tag team match where he and Conan had to take on the Outsiders. And if Ray and Conan did not beat the Outsiders at Super Brawl, well, Ray would have to unmask. And more on Super Brawl when I get into it next year, when I talk about Super Brawl. So yeah, Ray beat Nash on Nitro. This match was only just set up just so Nash could get his victory back, and Luger and Elizabeth were at ringside. Luger tripped up Mysterio, and then Nash hit Mysterio with the Jackknife Powerbomb. Kevin Nash gets the victory, so nothing more to be said here. Next up, we get into the worst match on this entire show, as Jerry Flynn, not to be confused with Jerry Lynn, defeats Ernest the Cat Miller and Sonny Ono in a 2-on-1 handicap match. And I gotta ask, why the hell is Sonny Ono wrestling? Why is he wrestling? I gotta ask. The only reason he ever got his job in WCW was because he was friends with Eric Bischoff. That's the only reason, is because he kissed Eric Bischoff's ass. That's the only reason why Sonny Ono even got a job in WCW. And the match was not that great. Ono got pinned by Jerry Flynn, and Jerry Flynn gets his revenge after he had his ponytail cut off of him by the Cat and Sonny Ono. Now we get into 3 good matches coming up right now. Next up, we get a triple threat hardcore match. As you got Heck, aka the Sandman, defeating Bam Bam Bigelow and Raven in a triangle hardcore match. This was a very fun match. Bobby the Brain Heenan makes this comment during the match where he said, "Where's Martha Stewart when you need her?" That comment made me laugh. Like, Bobby Heenan, he had probably my favorite line on commentary by saying, "Where's Martha Stewart when you need her?" Good one, Brain. I still miss you, man. But yeah, this match was a very fun match to watch. This triple threat hardcore match. Chastity, who was Raven's sister, basically costs Raven the match after she hits Raven with the fire extinguisher and then dive bombs Raven in the nuts by diving head first into Raven's nuts, allowing Hack to get the 1-2-3, and Hack beats Raven and Bam Bam Bigelow. Of course, him and Bigelow would have a hardcore match at Spring Stampede following this, but this was a very fun match. I loved all the various weapons that were used. An ironing board was used, a box fan was used. This was better than the triple threat hardcore match that happened at WrestleMania 15. Yes, did I forget to mention this show also happened in the same month WrestleMania 15 had? But 15 had the better main event, though I think Uncensored had the better show. Next up, we get into our next match, which is a dog collar match, as Perry Saturn defeats Chris Jericho. And yes, this was Chris Jericho's last WCW pay-per-view that he wrestled on. Because, by the time of August, by the time the summer came around, Jericho would be gone by the summer, by August. So, yeah, by the summer, Jericho would be gone. We wouldn't see Jericho ever again in WCW. We would see him on the WWE, or in the WWF, I'm sorry, not WWE, because they haven't gone by WWE yet. But, yeah, Ralphus was that ringside as well. He was Jericho's personal security. Jericho had to force to wrestle Perry Saturn. Jericho tried to get out of this match by setting Ralphus in, but that wasn't work. Ralphus just leaves Jericho all on his own. It was still a fun match nonetheless, and Perry Saturn got his revenge on Jericho, and they had been feuding since January. So, next up we get a match for the WCW Tag Team Championships, as it is a lumberjack strap match. Basically, the lumberjacks have their own straps, and to make the people get back into the ring, they have to whip them. So this is a return match from Super Brawl. We have Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko taking on Barry Windham and Kurt Hennig. So yeah, you had Barry Windham's brother, Kendall, was one of the lumberjacks. Chris Adams was supposed to be one of the lumberjacks, but Arn Anderson kind of inserted himself as one of the lumberjacks. So yeah, Arn Anderson plays a big part in this match. It was still a very solid tag team match, great wrestling, and Arn Anderson comes in and he wails the tire iron right to Kurt Hennig, allowing Benoit to then hit his top rope diving headbutt. Benoit gets the 1-2-3. Him and Malenko are the new tag team champions. Next up, we get our match for the WCW Television Championship, as Booker T defeats Scott Steiner to capture the TV Championship. Now, I'm not a big Scott Steiner fan. I don't exactly like Scott Steiner. Out of all the wrestlers of the past, Scott Steiner is probably the one that is basically my trigger. mainly I don't like Steiner for the fact that, you know, he did the steroids and how roided up he was. It's not because of the fact he was a heel, it was mainly due to the fact that I don't respect him that he just did the steroids and I didn't respect his attitude. So, Booker T ended up getting the victory thanks in part to a dumbass by the name of Buff Bagwell. Because Buff Bagwell ended up costing Scott Steiner this match. Booker ended up beating Steiner, so it was still a solid match, but I'm not going to give it anything else because it is a Scott Steiner match. And now we get to our main event. A cage with no door, with barbed wire at the top, and the only way to win was first blood, as Ric Flair took on Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Now, Flair, before the match started, grabbed the microphone and says, "Don't stop this match for a small nick or a trickle of blood. Stop it when there's a massive amount of blood being shed." And, well, okay. You have a referee, and guess who the referee was? Charles Robinson. Charles Robinson was actually the referee assigned to this match. And of course, it has that Charles Robinson favoring Flair attitude to it. This main event was really not a great main event. I mean, Hogan's technically the one who busts up Flair. He busts open Flair. And you think Hogan would be named the winner of this match. But honestly, no. Hogan does not get named the winner of this match. Even when you had David Flair and Torrie Wilson come out to ringside, because, oh yeah, I forgot to mention Torrie Wilson also debuted at Super Brawl, and David Flair had turned his back on his father. So, Arn Anderson also comes in and he beats up David Flair, hands Ric Flair a crowbar, or hands Ric Flair that same tire iron that he used earlier in the tag team match, and Flair used it to waffle Hogan, lock a figure 4 leg lock on an unconscious Hogan. A 3 count was issued by Charles Robinson. Flair's the new World Heavyweight Champion. Final thoughts. Why even have the first blood stipulation if it wasn't even going to be used? I mean, I did like the look of the cage where it didn't have a door. But come on, man. Now, at least it wasn't as bad as the barbed wire steel cage match from No Way Out 2005. Oh yeah, if you want a much worse match with a barbed wire steel cage, watch No Way Out 2005. I feel like that match made this one look like Shakespeare. Anyway, this has been your Digital Super Saiyan 3, and I'll see you guys in April for my April pay-per-view, WrestleMania 17, tackling its 20th anniversary. See ya!